Let's take a look at CBD versus Copaiba. In this video, you'll learn the difference between CBD oil and Copaiba Essential Oil. I will also answer some of the common questions about CBD and Copaiba Essential Oil, like what does CBD oil do for you? How does CBD oil make you feel? What should you expect when you first start taking CBD? Does CBD oil contain THC? And how does CBD oil compare to Copaiba Essential Oil? And make sure you stay with me because I will be also giving the pros and cons and a cost breakdown and a dosage guide for both. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Stacey Paulson. If you're new here, I am an essential oil educator, health coach, and mother of 6 amazing kids. I'm obsessed with helping women to break free from physical and emotional health challenges so that they can live life fully. Make sure to click subscribe if you want to stay in touch and receive the upcoming videos that will help you on your journey. Is it okay if I share just a little bit of my personal experience with kind of coming to this place of needing support for pain and other emotional support? Back over 10 years ago, I was struggling with some health challenges with pain, emotional and physical, fertility issues, also migraines, chronic sinus infections, pain in my joints, and the things that I was doing, they weren't helping me to move forward. I was doing a lot of traditional things and I got really frustrated, and it wasn't until I was exposed to some other options that I found some real solutions. So I want to share with you because you're probably on here because you are dealing with some type of pain or emotional challenge that you're looking for options that are natural and safe and healthy for you or maybe a loved one. So let's get into this. Let's go over some basics so that you better understand how CBD oil works and how it compares to Copaiba Essential Oil. CBD oil, which is cannabidiol, which comes from the cannabis plant, and then also BCP, which is beta-caryophyllene, which is found in Copaiba Essential Oil, are called cannabinoids. And cannabinoids are any compounds that trigger the endocannabinoid system. You might be thinking, okay, what are cannabinoids and what are endocannabinoid system or the ECS system? Well, the ECS aids in the regulation of many different functions in your body. So I'm going to list just a few of them. So your inflammatory system, your immune system, sleep, appetite, digestion, pain receptors, hormones, reproductive system, and even memory and learning. The ECS system helps control many different parts of our body. You can see from the graphic here, your hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, pineal gland, your thyroids, pancreas, kidney, adrenals, your ovaries. So this is a really important system to our body. And again, these cannabinoids, they trigger the ECS system. So it triggers the regulation of these functions within our body. Now, cannabinoids, they can be produced naturally within our bodies or we can consume them. So those that are produced naturally are called endocannabinoids, or within our body they're produced, and then phytocannabinoids are those that are produced from plants. I'm only going to go in a little bit more into science so you better understand how it triggers these different systems. But if you want to learn more, I'll put down in the comments some additional things that you can geek out on the science with CBD and Copaiba Essential Oil if you want to. So these cannabinoids, whether it's CBD or BCP in Copaiba Essential Oil, they activate your cannabinoid receptors. Now, what does that mean? So I think of cannabinoid receptors as kind of like a lock, and the cannabinoid is the key that unlocks it. So you have these cannabinoids that will attach to receptors and unlock or trigger the functions that we're wanting in our body. And there's 2 different receptors that we're going to be talking about, the CB1 receptor and the CB2 receptor. CB1 receptor, as you can see in the graphic, it's found in the brain and in the central nervous system. It affects pleasure and reward, and it's the receptor that causes the feelings of euphoria. And CB2 receptor, on the other hand, they are found in the rest of your body. So in your muscles, your skin, in your vital organs, on the surfaces of your white blood cells. And these are involved in regulating a plethora of different things. Inflammation, learning and memory, pleasure and reward, your immune system, central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, digestion, and pain. So we have CB1 receptor, CB2 receptor, and we have these cannabinoids that will unlock those receptors. Let me give you an actual example of how this works. It's probably something that you've experienced. It's called a runner's high. So maybe you've had an intense workout, maybe you have been running and you experience that sense of euphoria where you just feel really good. If you haven't felt this, I tell you it's real. What happens is that our body naturally produces a cannabinoid, which is called anandamide. And what anandamide does is it directly attaches to CB1 and CB2 receptors. And what it produces is that sense of euphoria from CB1, and then from CB2, it helps to soothe the discomfort that comes to maybe your muscles and joints from the workout. And that's what's called a runner's high. So let's talk about phytocannabinoids, because that's what CBD oil is and BCP found in Copaiba Essential Oil. So CBD oil comes from the cannabis plant or marijuana, and it actually produces two different types of cannabinoids. One is THC and one is CBD oil. So THC, you may have heard of this. The things that we know about it is that in cannabis oil, not CBD oil, but in cannabis oil, THC is found in high concentrations. And why this is good, so the pros of having high levels of THC, is that it affects both the CB1 and the CB2 receptors. So you're getting that euphoric feeling and also can help with the other things that come along with CB2. So let's talk about phytocannabinoids. So this is your CBD oil and your BCP found in Copaiba Essential Oil. Now, where's the source of CBD oil? Cannabis. So the cannabis plant or marijuana is the source of CBD oil, and it also produces another cannabinoid called THC. So THC stands for tetrahydrocannabinol, and this is found in high concentrations in cannabis oil, not CBD oil, but cannabis oil. The cons of THC is that you have those psychoactive effects. You may have hallucinations, can be addictive, may fail drug tests, and also there's quality and legal issues around cannabis oil. Now, CBD oil is also coming from the cannabis plant. CBD oil has traces of THC in there. Even if it says 100% THC free, that labs have shown that there are traces in there. Because it contains trace amounts of THC, it's not enough to directly impact CB1 and CB2 receptors. It's negligible. So there's no impact directly on those receptors because of the THC. And CBD oil does not directly in itself impact the CB1 or CB2 receptors. It does it indirectly. Remember that runner's high? We talked about how anandamide was produced naturally in our body, which unlocked or triggered directly CB1 and CB2 receptors. Gave you that euphoria, helped with soothing your muscles and your joints. What happens is CBD oil slows down the breakdown of anandamide. How it does that is it impacts an enzyme that breaks down anandamide, so you have higher levels of anandamide for longer. So that's how it indirectly impacts CB1 and CB2, but it doesn't impact it directly. So the pros of CBD oil is that it doesn't have enough THC to cause hallucinations, those psychoactive effects, and that it can indirectly affect CB1 and CB2 receptors. The cons are to contain traces of THC, which could test positive on a drug test. Also, there's quality control issues and consistency issues with CBD oil, that there's varying levels of CBD oil actually found in the products that you're purchasing. And in a minute, I will give you a cost breakdown where I'll show you like the crazy amount of cost and the dosage that you need to take in order to have CBD oil really effective in your life. Now, the second phytocannabinoid is BCP or beta-caryophyllene. And this is found in high concentrations in Copaiba Essential Oil. Now, BCP directly impacts that CB2 receptor. It doesn't impact CB1 receptor, and also Copaiba Essential Oil comes from the Copaiba tree. So there is no chance of having THC in there because it doesn't come from the cannabis plant. And BCP is also found in black pepper, ylang ylang, and melissa essential oils, but in lower concentrations. It's found highest in Copaiba Essential Oil. The other nice thing about Copaiba Essential Oil when it comes from doterra is that it's verified the amount of BCP in there every single time through third-party laboratories with a GCMS test. So those are tested and verified that it's pure and it's potent and that it's consistently at the high levels of BCP. Before we go into an overview of the pros and cons and then also a cost and a dosage breakdown for each one of these, I would love to know, why are you looking for CBD oil or Copaiba Essential Oil? Comment down in there so that I can be able to help with resources if I have them. There might be other solutions that are helpful for you as well. Okay, so let's give the overview, pros and cons of Copaiba Essential Oil. So the pros of doterra's Copaiba is that it contains, on average, 55% BCP. It ranges from 50 to 70% in concentration. It's the highest of any oil. Also, it directly impacts the CB2 receptor. There's no THC, so you're not going to ever have a challenge with failing a drug test or having psychoactive effects. Also, you can take this in low dosages. In fact, low dosages are the most effective. You usually take between 1 to 2 drops would be a dose of Copaiba. If you're using black pepper, melissa, or ylang ylang, then you'll use 3 to 4 drops. And you usually do it 2 to 3 times a day if you have something that you're really needing to impact. And so on average, there's about 250 drops of essential oil within this 15 milliliter bottle. So if you did a cost breakdown, cost of this bottle, the retail is $46.67, it's $35 is the wholesale from doterra. And so it's around 14 cents a drop. So if you're taking 1 to 2 drops, it's 14 cents to 28 cents per dose. And if you're taking it 3 times a day, that's less than $1 a day. And then what I love is the consistency, the potency, and the purity of this, because of those laboratory testing to verify that every time you're using this bottle of oil, it contains around 55% of the BCP, and there's no contaminants or fillers or other things in the bottle. And there's over 1,000 published studies that have been done on the benefits of BCP. So I love that as well. Now, the cons of Copaiba Essential Oil are that it does not impact the CB1 receptor directly or indirectly. And also, it doesn't have any psychoactive effects. So if you're looking for those type of euphoric effects, that's not something that you will get from Copaiba Essential Oil. It does help you to feel calm and rested and eases those anxious feelings, but it doesn't give you that euphoric feeling. The pros of CBD oil is that it contains trace amounts of THC. So again, you won't have those psychoactive effects, and that it does indirectly impact both CB1 and CB2 receptors. The cons of CBD oil are that there's no direct effect on either the CB1 or the CB2 receptor. And when you only have indirect effect, it's slow and it's not as impactful. Then also, purity and consistency is a huge issue. It's so hard to find 100% natural and pure. The quality standard there is hard. And it's also not cost effective. So CBD oils that are found on the market usually contain between 0 to 8% actual CBD oil. The rest is a filler. And the cost per day would be $75 to $180 to make a significant impact. Now, I've given you an overview and cost comparison, dosage comparison of both of these oils. If you're wanting to learn more about Copaiba Essential Oil and how to use it for pain, I have a video coming up where I show you how to do that effectively and safely. Also, how to support your immune system, cardiovascular, digestive, your central nervous system, your respiratory system with Copaiba Essential Oil. Also, I'll show you how to use it as an antioxidant for your skin and for your hair, also as a sleep aid, appetite support, and memory and learning aid. So that's coming up next. It's best if you click subscribe, because then you'll get notified for that. If you're watching this later on, it's out. I will have it down in the description that you can click on. Also, if you're new to essential oils, I would recommend that you watch my essential oils 101 class. I will put it up here in the cards and also down in this description, and you can download my free Getting Started with Essential Oils. It's my beginner's guide. It gives you everything that you need to know to how to use them safely and effectively in your home for a plethora of different things. And coming up, you can go ahead and watch this video here, I always forget, or here on pain and how to support yourself with essential oils that way, or watch the Copaiba Essential Oil video coming up.